Yeah, you just waved. Okay, wait. Hey, stop. Okay. Live from Houston, Texas, Ginger Cook, the professional, acclaimed acrylic artist, world-renowned, magnificent individual, the teacher of teach, the educator of all, Ginger!
Hey, you guys. All right, we're just starting again because apparently one little button off and it all goes to in a handbasket, right?
All too very good. You censored yourself.
I censored myself.
Sammy didn't have to press
for
that
those
button.
of you who are new saying, man, are these people ever going to get this dog and pony show on the road? Yeah,
No.
we are.
No,
we are. And
never.
the thing with this is that we're going to go back to I'm fired up tonight. I had someone write me and say, they really love me, love my paintings. But gosh, if I just gave them traceables, they'd be on it. And I'm going, you guys, you learned to draw when you learned handwriting. And if you follow my videos step by step, you would never need a traceable. And it's like traceables are, sometimes they're handy. Sometimes if a piece is very complicated, it just saves time. But I have faith in you. You really don't. For instance, those high-heeled shoes we did with the blue jeans and stuff, I showed you how to graft that on. There was no traceable for that. And what if you wanted to make something bigger? Then what are you going to do? So you can always grid anything and pretty much come up with it. Because a grid, now let's just talk about that for a minute. Do I have my chalkboard anywhere handy? No? I want to talk about
Is it on the other side?
I give up. Where's the chalkboard?
Did you put it over in B?
I did. No, I didn't. We had it when we were teaching a lesson. I don't know. Have you seen a chalkboard? A piece of paper, anything, something I can show? Because this is really important. Because if you're following along with my videos, you don't, while you can certainly trace, and it's perfectly fine to do it, you don't need to. And if you feel like you need to or you can't, you can't paint, then the problem is if there isn't, you want to paint something, you see something you want to do, and you've learned all the color mixing techniques, and you've learned all this neat stuff, but you haven't figured out how to get the image on the canvas. You're just sort of, spinning your wheels, okay? So here's a piece of paper. John's going to give me a couple of pieces, piece of paper, and I just want to show you something. If you have an image of any kind of an image, right? And let's just say I have a flower like this, and I like this flower. I think it's the most beautiful flower I've ever seen in my whole little life, okay? That is just a masterpiece. I'm so excited to paint it. But I don't have a traceable, so now what? What am I going to do? I don't have a traceable.
Wait a minute. You're I'm not showing down there yet.
Oh, well, then you don't see this magnificent flower.
Look at that flower. Okay, everybody look at the flower. How did you draw that? I bet you traced it.
Yeah, I mean, this is great. I mean, isn't this the best flower you've ever seen in your entire life?
That is
I mean, you're just overwhelmed when you see this, and you're so excited, but you're going, man, I have. And then, I like that flower, but I need a flower like 3 feet by 4 feet. I even if I could do that flower, how would I get it bigger? Well, you guys, this is just. We're going to end all this. Okay, this foolishness. We're going to talk about making a grid. So now there's half, and here's half of that, and here's half of that, and then here's half of on the sideways, and here's half of that, and here's half of that. Okay.
Looks like you corded it all up.
Yeah, just so you made a little square. Now, let's just come over here and do the same thing. I just want to say this, right? Because here's half of this, here's half of that. I just want you to know that you can draw anything, and this nonsense about you have to have a traceable or your life is just over is just so stupid. I can't say it because if you're willing to grid, you can make anything. All right, so first off, we're going to number the grids. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You do that so you don't get confused. And this could be any number of grids or squares. You can make lots more. You could make 24 squares. Doesn't really matter. 50 or 100. Doesn't matter, right? But you number them, okay? And this is, if you just remember how to do this, you are so in like Flint. 5, 6, 7, 8. Counting helps. Learning how to count helps. If you're not sure how to count, then maybe you could just do letters. That would be good. ABC or something like that. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. All right, so let's sit there and say, what do we know about this picture, this magnificent flower? What do we know? We know that there's nothing. There's nothing in 1. Nothing in square number 1. Now, what's in square number 2? Well, surprisingly, there's a little something here, and about half of square number 2, you have a dot right here, and half of this one, you have a dot. And so you know that you've got a little shape like that that looks a little bit, like the letter C on its side, right? Now you can see where I'm going with it. Square number 3.
Looks
right?
like a V, a flying V or a bird.
Yeah, it looks like, yeah. So we're going to come down and say, where's the dot? It's a little bit above half here. And it's kind of close to this one. It's about like that. You put a dot, and then you come down here and do that. Wow. Now how about number 4? 4 starts here, and it's not quite half. It ends here. And you could make a little mark out like that, put a little dot, and then follow the circle. Look at that. This is how Van Gogh did it. Did you know that? Artists have been gridding for thousands of years. You know how Michael...
Okay, now what you've just shown is a 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Okay, now see you have a little baby, I'm going to say it's like a 5x7 little sample, and I want to make that an 8x10. So all you're doing is your squares become bigger.
Yeah, you just make the squares bigger. You could say
That's all it is.
one.
The
You could
squares
say
go
this
bigger.
number 4. That you can say 1 inch is worth 1 foot, or whatever the
Right.
ratio is. You just make the bigger squares and do that. Now, what if something really was complicated, like number 7 here? Gosh, I don't know. This circle's really got me baffled. So what could I do? I could draw a line like this through my square, like that, number 7, right? If I were to draw a line right through number 7 like this, right? Then all I have to do is know that this came like this and like that. See? So that's the secret of drawing a grid. So I just want you to know that don't let the fact that you don't have a traceable do you in. Okay? You can see how we could easily make this flower by just doing grids. And if it gets too complicated, make another square in the areas where it's maybe divide a square in half again. Now you've got a little tiny thing. This is such an easy way to draw anything on. And I just can't say that enough. Now, okay, so now that Ginger's, this is, the reason that I say that is because our job here, John and I feel very strongly about that, is it's fun and entertaining as we can be. Our job, as we see it, is to help you become better artists, to find, giving you, even if you've been painting for years, to find ways to save you time and effort. And we're happy that if you want to trace something on, that's not what we're saying, but we don't want you to feel that if you can't do it or you don't find some easy way to trace it, you're dead in the water, because you certainly aren't. Now tonight we're going to be painting these impatiens. Okay, they're sort of a summer flower. They're certainly, when I lived in Aspen, Colorado for years, they were a flower that we could kind of grow with it, you know, seemed to make it through the cold winter, summer nights, because it gets cold at night there. And we're going to be painting this. You see just a little bit of a pot here. I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. In the meantime, we've got a little 8x10 canvas, and we want to sand it, lightly sand it. And while we're doing that, we want to welcome everybody to our channel. Maybe you've had a chance to catch up now that you've seen my little spiel on why you need to, you know, to not throw in the towel if you don't have a traceable, okay? Because quite frankly, I could trace the Mona Lisa on a painting for you, and that wouldn't help you. It shouldn't help you because you still got to paint it in. Traceable is just, the drawing, the outline is just, it's just the beginning, and it's so much easier to do it. Now, we actually have a video on how to grid stuff in on our channel, and I'll find that and I card it in here for you guys, okay? Because it's one that hardly ever gets noticed because it doesn't have all that exciting a thumbnail. I'm using some sandpaper here. Boy, this is some new stuff we got. This is great, John. This is abrasive paper number 320. I love this. Oh man, this is the reason you want to lightly sand. You don't gesso, you lightly sand. It's nice and smooth now, okay? So we're
gonna something.
What's that?
Nothing.
So, what you want to do, we're going to put out, we started to put out colors with break.
Again, hey, wait. We have new people, and they're questioning, why are you sanding your canvas? This is silly.
No, it isn't silly. What happens is your canvases come very rough. And
like
when you invest in good brushes, which we do, we're using the Ruby Satin Silver Brights. We use the Bristol-On, Silver Company Bristol-On brushes and the angle brushes, and we pay some money for these. And the fastest way to wear out a brush is with a rough canvas. Rough canvases take more paint. You don't get to smooth the line. There's all kinds of problems with rough canvases. That I actually learned this years ago when my daughter Cinnamon, I mean, some of you know her as the art Sherpa, she was in junior college and she was taking up here in Tomball, and she was going to take an art course, and there weren't enough people to take the course, and I think they needed like 7 people in the class to take it. And she wanted this art course. I said, okay, so I got a couple of my friends. I said, let's go up there and take this course. We're taxpayers. We get it for like $300. Let's just go up there and take this art course so Cinnamon gets her credit, because we want her. I had this kid in school. I didn't want any excuses why she couldn't take the art course. So we all went up there, took it together, had a lot of fun. And that was one of the first thoughts. And I probably even at that point could have taught the class, but I'd never heard of sanding your canvas. And that's one of the things I learned was how to sanding your canvas, because it kept your brushes from wearing out. And I'm so glad that was worth $300 over the years for sure. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some water and I'm going to mist the back of it. That's going to stretch this canvas out tighter. And the reason you want to do that is you want the canvas to be nice and tight. And if it still isn't tight, you can use hot water and even hit it with a hairdryer, because the back of this is real cotton and it shrinks, and as it gets wet, it'll start to tighten up and shrink. And this is very handy to do too. And then your canvas, when you do this, hear the drum sound? That's what you want. Do you see this little wrinkle here, right here? Do you see this little wrinkle in the canvas? I can get that out just by taking a brush and wetting it and putting some water back in here like this. Back in there like that. You do that in all the corners, and that will stretch out your canvas like that, just to wet that out there like that, and that'll take that right out. Wow, look at that. Takes it right out.
What are the name of these flowers you're painting this evening?
These are called impatiens.
The red
ones
are?
The little red ones. I forget what these are, but they...
That's a variegated...
Variegated something or other. Like it? Variegated... Well, even though for years when I lived in California, I wrote a gardening article. I didn't know the first thing about gardening. I just liked the idea of being in the newspaper. So I'd find something out about gardening and then prattle it back, right? People said, your gardening articles are so insightful. I'm thinking, well, good, because we both learned something, because I had no clue. But, that's okay, right? Anyway, that's what we did. All right, we got a little phthalo blue here. Our palette is phthalo blue, ultramarine blue, dazzling purple, cad yellow medium, yellow oxide, burnt umber. I have burnt sienna out. Yeah, we're going to want that too. White.
The flowers are Coleus.
Coleuses. That's what they are. Coleuses.
Coleuses. Okay.
Coleus. That's right. Coleuses. Good.
See, we have people. So apparently, you painted them well enough that people can distinguish what they are.
Well, see, that's something, right?
I think we're done for the night.
That's it, right? I mean, that's absolutely it. Okay, so we've got. All right, so we want to. What we want is to get a background on our canvas, and we're going to dry it. We can be chatting while we do it. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to our channel, now would be a nifty time to do it.
Beat the rush.
Yeah, beat the rush, right? Nothing terrible happens to you if you do that. Nobody calls you up at 3 a.m, with infomercials or something. You just subscribe. That's all. If you hit the little button, let's take a little bit of burnt umber here like that. Take the palette knife, a little ultramarine blue, burnt umber about 50-50. We're going to say that that's the color we want. And I'm going to take a wide, I like this brush because it's nice and big. This is a number 12 Ruby Satin Silver Bright brush. I'm going to come on like this, and I'm going to put a little tiny bit of water on the canvas. Bright brush. It doesn't mean it's smart, John. It's a squared off brush. And I've tamped it, just slightly damp brush. That's all. Okay, and I'm not putting this on real thick. Now this is what we call a weave. When you do this, you go down and across, and you weave the color on. And we're starting with this. This is just our first layer. And as you can tell, this is actually blue in here. So, we're going to put other colors on here. We're going to weave it. We're going to weave these colors, and it's going to look really kind of cool. We really like that, and we'll see what we can do. Appreciate you guys joining us. We had a really fun weekend here in Texas working on new paintings. For those of you who don't know, besides doing 2 live classes a month, week, rather, 2 live classes a week on YouTube, Mondays and Tuesdays. We occasionally throw up another video, sometimes on a weekend, or John will paint. And then we have an online academy of fine art with over 300 really in-depth, detailed lessons on how to paint acrylics, and some of the videos are 4 or 5 hours long, and some are 2 or 3. But in any event, they all come with personal art coaching. If you're a monthly or annual member, now notice how I'm smoothing this out as I tell you that. So, what that means is that you can send me your artwork as you're working on it, and then what happens is I will make very helpful, creative suggestions and illustrated sometimes, and send them back and say, what about this? What if you did this? And then we're going to show you some of our students' work tonight, and things that we think are really cool. And sometimes people will, friend me on Facebook or ask to be friended, and I'll friend them back. And then what happens is they send me artwork on Facebook too. Not for critiquing, but just to bragging rights, and say, listen, I watched your video, Ginger, and this is what I did. How cool is that? And we're going, yay, it's cool. And sometimes I'll put your stuff up on our Pinterest board, our Student 2000 Pinterest board, and any of our members, of course, who ask to be on Pinterest, we do that. And sometimes people say, just my first name only. We never give full names on a live show. Okay, so tonight we won't give the full name of the person, unless you donated money or something, and then we're happy to give your full name. Name,
address, social security number, the whole thing.
This is a live show, so we have something called Super Chat. So it's actually quite possible to, to do that. And also, if you have questions, that's what we have moderators for.
We do have a question.
And this is great.
We have 2 questions.
We have
a comment and a question.
Comment and a question. So what do you got?
Love your hair.
Oh, thank you.
And wait a minute, it just scrolled off. They're chatting tonight. Ginger, do you know the work of Kusama? Kusama?
I don't.
I haven't even heard that name.
I don't. I'm gonna dry this, John. I'm gonna move my palette out of the way and dry it so I don't dry the paint too. John's gonna show you some stuff while I'm drying, and this will be fun. All right. And if you have any more questions, type them in. He'll save them for me. We're gonna mute now. Okay.
Yes. 1, 2, 3. You're muted. I'll remute you. Okay. I got to see how she scraped the hair dryer rod on the paint. Hey, let me show you a putty cat from Monique. Look at this cat. That is a phenomenal job. Look at the eyes on this. This was from Monique, one of our members of our online academy. That, to me, is a job well done. Congratulations, Miss Monique. I've also got to show you tonight, Sissy has been working on a dolphin in the snow globe. Great job on that. Put her name on it. Oh, look at that. That is another excellent job. Another one of our students as well. And Judith has given us the autumn stream. And I like how she's captured. Let me bring Ginger back. How she's captured. I have Judith up there right now.
Oh, great! Isn't that beautiful? Don't you love that with the
fall colors?
The fall colors. That's one of our videos of one of our 300 videos we talk about on our website. Every week, our members get a new video, and sometimes they're 1 cookie lessons, which are very basic, just never painted before, kind of wonderful step-by-step instruction. And sometimes they go up to a box of cookies, and you're going, "Holy cow! I had no idea I could paint anything this great." And then there's sort of ranges from 2 to 3 to 4 cookies. And so we try to make it, a little bit challenging and very fun, something to do. Incidentally, for those of you who are sitting there saying, I love you, Ginger, flowers are not my thing, keep in mind this is what we're going to be painting tomorrow. All right? This is tomorrow, Tuesday night's lesson. Just going to show that to you now. Isn't that cool? Wow.
Like to
Except that we're going to make it 8 by 10. I've got a little small here. Make it 8 by 10. Actually, that was done on a linen canvas. We're going to do the 8 by 10. How cool is that? Sort of this ocean sunset piece with rocks. So we're going to be painting that tomorrow. In the meantime,
give a shout out to Yvonne for the donation. Thank you very much.
Oh gosh, thanks so much. Yeah, that is so sweet. We appreciate it so much. That's very, very helpful. You can't know. And look what we're going to do here is I'm going to just show you a little. This is my hot button today, you guys. Ginger's on a warpath here. For 7 years, besides having, I've been painting and been a professional artist for almost 50 years, okay? And I've got publishers all over the world, and was artist of of the year, art and architecture, art, artist of the year, and I don't know, all kinds of weird awards, and Liquitex painted difference, one man show in New York, all that stuff, right? And also because artists all have to make a living, I taught, and for 7 years, when the painting parties were really the rave here in Houston, I taught really inebriated people, 3 sheets to the wind, could barely pick up a pencil or paintbrush or anything, how to paint. Not once did anybody ask me for a traceable. They were able to draw it on drunk, okay? I'm just saying that it's possible. I know it's possible. And one of the tricks we used to do is the finger trick, okay? We'd start with an 8x10 canvas like this, and we'd say, we're going to go 2 fingers over here, and we're going to put a little dot. And then we're going to go 2 fingers over here, and we're going to put a little dot. And we're going to go 2 fingers up here.
Are 2 fingers, what, about an inch for you, isn't it?
Well, 2 fingers are about an inch,
yeah.
Now, it was a little harder when you had children and giant guys, but it still seemed to work, okay? So, all right, so we put a mark there. You saw that. We put a mark here. And now I'm going to come up about 2 fingers like that, and I'm going to say that I'm going to have a little line going across here like this, and I'm going to curve it a little bit, okay? Then I'm going to come out a little bit here like that, curve this line, kind of curve it down like this, and put a little line under here like this, and maybe come up just slightly higher than that. Now that's, you don't need, that's pretty easy, right? It's a pot. It's it's just not quite a straight line here. It curves like that, okay? And I was amazed at the number of people that were just really easy to do it. And the other thing we used to do is we do the paper towel method. You haven't seen this, right? This was the other thing we could do because my boss was too cheap to buy rulers. And then when we had rulers, people would get paint all over them, so it was a problem, okay? So we used to take a paper towel and just fold it, okay, like this. And like, for instance, this is about the width of this paper towel folded 4 times. I'm just saying, we'd fold these paper towels like we were origami experts by the time we folded the paper towel. Like, for instance, and, anyway, everybody had a paper towel and they fold along with me. All right, so now what we're going to say here is we're going to come over about 4 fingers from here, and we're going to put a dot. That's easy, right? That's easy, a little dot right there. And then we're going to make a little leaf shape like this, all right, which is about 2 fingers fat in the middle. And then I'm going to come over here from that one about 4 fingers and put a dot right here. And I'm going to put a leaf shape like that, dot. There you go. And then I'm going to come up halfway there for about a finger's worth and put a dot. And we're going to put another leaf shape right here. And listen, if your leaf has moved a little bit, it's a flower. Nobody's going to know, okay? Just saying, okay? And then not quite to the edge of this one, we're going to put another leaf shape like that. Now, come on, this is pretty easy, right? I'm just saying, this is not tricky. However, John will have a traceable for you. For those of you who must have it, we'll have a traceable for you on our website at the end of the show. Give us an hour, and we'll have it if you want to just quick trace it in, and which is okay too. I just don't want you to feel that you are stuck, that if you don't have it, that you can't move on, because there's a lot of ways to do things, and this is just one of the ways. All right, so I'm going to come straight up from my from this leaf about a finger's worth, and let's see, this flower is about 2 fingers wide. And I'm going to come up here, and I'm just going to make a little flower, a little impatiens flower like this, like that. There you go. That's pretty easy, yeah? And then off of this one at an angle, now that one's 3 fingers wide at an angle like this, put a little dot here. I'm going to say I've got this one kind of coming over here like this, like that, and this leaf isn't so hard. There you go. There's another flower, okay? Oh, gosh, that's so cool, right? And how about this one right here? We got another one coming up here like this. And it's going to be touching this one maybe. And we'll just come in here like that and kind of have this one touch, all right? We got these 3 flowers here. We've got something coming here. We've got some leaves coming down here like that. We're going to say here's some leaves. We're just going to sort of draw some leaves in like this. 1, 2, 3, like that. All right, that's pretty good, okay? And that's about really all you need to know. I guess we could come up here and do this one. This is sort of almost like a dog bone shape. Up here at the top, like this. Here's another little funny shape. Over here, we've got a little sideways one, almost like an X with see the X, okay? Then you've got one that's looking like this. And then you've got over here, you've got one of these variegated ones. What did they say these were? I'm going to erase that one. I love chalk. We're going to put this one here like that. Like the variegated one out here like that. And then maybe we've got some little red flower here. Okay, so that's really all we're talking about. And the reason that I'm excited about this painting tonight is we're talking about complementary colors. Complementary colors are those opposite each other on the color wheel. We talk about this a lot, but why this is important, when you're designing a painting and you're talking about bringing some life to your still life, you remember the one we did with the purple background and the yellow flowers, all right? Everybody loved that one. Well, complement colors are, purple and yellow, red and green, turquoise and orange. And when you have a painting that's predominantly, for instance, those complements, right? What happens is it becomes like eye candy to the viewer, and you can actually plan it out like that, all right? And that's what we want to talk about. And we're going to be using, as we're talking, right? Do I have any questions I can answer while we're chatting?
One person wanted to know if you know about was it loft paint? The scroll.
Oh, I want you to keep that question. You guys, I've got some excitement for you. I don't know anything about loft paints, but I know who does. My good friend, you weren't going to believe this. Next Monday, you guys tell everybody, be here. I've gotten Daniel Elliott, who's so camera shy, I practically had to beg him to come. He's like a fabulous oil painting artist, and he's the manager of Jerry's. He's an amazing acrylic artist and does watercolor. And he's like the Encyclopedia Britannica of all things related to paint. And he's going to be here sitting right next to me, and he's going to be answering questions.
At least that's what he said.
That's what he said. He's coming. So next Monday at 8 o'clock, expect Daniel, unless something out. Because I've been trying to get him on the show. And I'll be painting something too, but Daniel's going to be just answering these kind of questions. And listen, be brutal. You can say, how come Jerry says this or that? Write your questions down. Let him have it. I think it's great, don't you? Kind of threw him under the bus there, didn't I?
Yeah, I'm thinking you kind of did.
Well, all right. He never watches this, so he won't know what we said. It's just between you and me. He won't know that we have plotted.
It's Michael's brand of paint, the Artist Loft.
Yeah, no, I really don't know about that brand of paint.
I looked at it one time, and it was thin. It was,
Well, it's a student. You don't want to. Here's the thing. Somebody sent me a painting in the other day. I'm going to just show you. We have on our on YouTube, for instance, we have some great florals. We have some of the best florals anywhere. And this is one of my favorites. This is a painting that's by Vincent van Gogh. It's one of our earliest videos we ever did. It's one of our really cheapo cameras before we got the good stuff, our $350 camera and a $10 mic. But still, this is a great lesson. And you can see these flowers, all right? These flowers and these beautiful reds and greens, it's very similar to what we're doing tonight. Not that different, except we're doing kind of a different background. But what I'm saying is, even back then, Vincent van Gogh understood the complements of green and red and how well that works. And I had a student send me that today, and the critique, she's using student grade paints, and her reds were just not showing up. Now here's a trick. If you've got student grade paints and your reds are not showing up, here's what you do. You must paint the flowers white first. Paint them white, let them dry.
Yeah, undercoating white.
Because the white will reflect the color back, and then you probably need 2 or 3 coats. And also, anytime you need a red to really show up, one flower, for instance, if you did them all one color and did one white and then painted it over, it'll look different. So that's just a little thing. But I love that. If you want to know, that's one of our paintings that we have on YouTube. That's, a floral that I thought you might like. Okay, so, all right. So let's just start with our what is this? Pot. So, all right. So I want this sort of pot color. So I'm going to take some Cad Red Medium and some yellow and make an orange, okay? And a tiny bit, like less than 1% of purple. And that makes like a burnt sienna color. Did you know that? So here we go. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Now we could have put out burnt sienna, but we're just going to go ahead and paint that in here. And we're going to paint it around like that. And we've kind of just, you're going to say here's a little bit of light underneath here like that. Don't worry about painting over your leaves. It's a leaf. Do you love this? There. Perfect.
You already painted yourself.
Already painted myself. Okay, so next, this is Cad Red Medium and yellow and a little tiny bit of purple. You see, you learned how to mix some neat colors. Okay, so there we go. little bit more red here, like that, a little more yellow. Okay, so there we go. Let's just keep going, painting this. And it's sort of this, sorrel horse brown, I think, is be the way to paint. And that's our first layer. So painting is all about layers. So we're just going to put that in like that. And then I'm going to come under that with a little tiny bit more purple in it, just a teeny bit. And I'm going to just paint underneath here like that.
Is this your 3/4 inch angle? No.
This is my
That's your 1/2 inch?
3/8 inch angle
3/8.
brush. 3/8 inch angle brush. So I love these. These ruby satin silver angle brushes are the bomb. You know, when they didn't make these, they originally weren't manufactured. They were manufactured for people who did more toll painting. And I think they were surprised to see me I use these all the time. I just absolutely love them. Now I take a little bit of purple here. It's still wet. Do a little dark line under here like that. There's our dark line under our pot. We've got this. Now, all right, so that's all we have to do for the pot for right now. That was easy. Now I'm rinsing the brush. When you rinse the brush, be sure you're touching the bottom of your container.
Preferably if it has ribs on the bottom.
Yeah, that's good. I like these. I never bought containers before, but I love this.
Lost her feed.
What?
Lost her feed.
No?
Nope. Hold on. I'm going to stop it and restart it. Apparently we can do that.
Okay.
I do too.
Are they doing that to us again, do you think?
Well, I can start it and stop it again. So we're back.
We're back. Okay, so we're back. All right, so move that flower up a little bit. All right, so now you see this is kind of where all right, so we've done that. Now, let's just take a second here and give our flowers a coat of red. So we're going to take some Naphtha Crimson, like that. Look at that beautiful color. See, right over the brown. See how beautiful that is? And just going to go ahead. That's your, pure red color. We're going to just say that's our first color. Red's one of those colors that is happier. I say that sort of loosely, but it's much happier if you're going to move that flower down a little bit. It's a little too high. Okay. And let's see. Let's put another little flower right here. We'll kind of shape as we go. Okay. Like that. And it's, it's like 2 or 3 coats of red is always the best. Okay. All right. So let's just move this one here like that. They can touch. It's not a problem if they do. And so I started to tell you, before we lost our feed, when you lose our feed, you sort of lose your whole train of thought, you know what I mean? So here we go. Here's that little red one up here like that. Kind of a part of flower. And let's see, I think I want one over here like this. I'm going to say here's one. My chalk is just sort of loose. I can also reshape with my colors too, other colors. But I say there's a flower there. I've got some little flower right here too, something there. Okay, those are flowers. So all right, so while those are deciding to be happy, I'm just going to get some purple now and ultramarine blue. And I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to darken the center. Didn't rinse my brush, notice that. I'm just darkening the center. So I can come around here and reshape a few flowers if I want. Sort of purple and ultramarine blue. Just come in here like that. There we go. This is what you call a layered background. Okay, like this. And let's make this a little darker right there. And notice every few minutes I'm getting more paint. Please notice that, because sometimes the one thing I see is that people don't use enough paint. Okay. We had somebody write me on Facebook yesterday and say that they'd had some problems with some varnish. And it turned out they were using, and that the paint had lifted off of some stuff they were varnishing. And it turned out that they had been using Minwax for varnish. I don't know why they were using Minwax for varnish, but they've been doing it for years. And in that particular case, it failed. The thing you want to use for varnish, and we have whole videos on YouTube on how to varnish, but you want to use an acrylic varnish. I'm really fond of, nobody pays me to say this either, Liquitex Gloss Medium and Varnish. I have videos on YouTube on the correct way to brush it on so you don't get streaks. And it molecularly binds as another layer of paint would to your other paint, and it's permanent. It doesn't come off. You do a couple layers of that, and then you can get a little squirrely with other stuff. But Though why you'd want to, I don't know. That's the first. That was a first for me. But I just wanted to say that if you weren't aware, let's see, we're going to come up here to the corners now. Put some of this darker blue color. Okay, as long as we're painting here like that, we're just kind of covering up the brown. Now the brown was just our base coat, and now we're taking a little bit of the darker blue and purple. Now what happens is this: we can change brushes, and let's find a different brush. How about a little, too big. How about a bright brush like this? That's nice. I like that one. We could do that. So many brushes, so many choices. Yeah, this will work. How about this one? Which one do I like better? Okay. All right, this is a number 8 bright. And so I'm going to take a little white and mix it into that color we just did. And I'm going to come up in here like that. See the purple? A little bit of white. And then I'm taking a little phthalo blue and white, coming over here and mixing into that. And using the side of my brush, and I'm going to start adding some color up into our background.
Now your purple's still wet, right?
Purple's still wet.
Red's
Purple's still wet. Red's still wet. I'm just going to use the side of the brush and kind of blend that in. Everything's still wet, but I'm being careful. You like it? I'm being careful. I'm just going to come around here like this, where those green, leaves would be. Here you go. Now, each time a little bit of ultramarine blue, a little bit of phthalo blue, a little bit of white, because this is one of these things where you're doing multiple colors of stuff. Now, I don't have wet purple everywhere. I just have it some places. Okay, I'm not going in the middle. I'm just coming around here like this. And look what that did. Here's the deal. Wherever there's a light, there's a dark. And so if you have something of the same value, if this were a black and white picture and you have it of the same value, what happens is that your picture doesn't pop. So you need a light color next to a dark color. So there we go, like that. Let's just see. Let's take a little bit more white now in phthalo blue. Tiny bit of yellow. Now that's interesting. Just a teeny bit. Then we're going to put it on the brush and then wipe it off. And then just come up here a little bit with this color and say, here's a, oh, that's pretty. Almost like clouds. You see that? Almost like clouds. We're just starting to add some lighter colors in here. Kind of flatten out the brush now while we're doing that. And I want something down in here like this, maybe a lighter purple next to that. And something down in this way. Okay, so...
We're buffering again. Going to pop out and come back.
Okay, John's going to pop out and come back.
I've been going pretty quick.
Huh?
I'm going pretty quick.
I'm just wanting to know, I guess the question I'm asking is...
Are we dropping people?
Yes.
No.
Okay, that's
We've
what
had
I'm
a high
asking.
of 298 and we're 285.
Okay.
And we're back again.
All right,
Thanks,
we're back. So
for-
you can
for
see
that
I've just
brief
got
interruption.
we're going around here. We had to come back. We've been buffering, so we're just popping in and out like a firefly.
Ooh,
Like a firefly. So anyhow, this is see how we're doing that. It's much more interesting background than just a solid background, isn't it? And we didn't have to do the whole thing. We just sort of did that. Okay. Now, so you're going, all right. So what could we do? Well, we'll put that brush in water. Come back with our other brush, a little one. I'm going to take some white paint, and I'm going to paint these leaves white. They look a little pink to me, so let's try that again. It doesn't really matter. We're going to say, here's this one. I'm going to paint it white first. Okay? That's this one. And we're going to paint this one white. Like that. Paint that one white like this. See? And someone says, I'm not sure about a leaf shape. And one of the ways to remember leaf shape is that everybody's at least, seen a footballer. Well, certainly in the States, held a football. Leaves are kind of football shaped. You gotta kind of have the shape in your mind. I want to just kind of come down here like this, bring that up here and let that curve a little bit. There's this white one. So anyway, we had a really fun weekend this weekend as far as designing stuff for our not just our online classes, but for our village scene. Our village got a new design. I've got to be kind of careful because I've got red there and that's still wet, and I'm going to come over that. That's not going to like it, but I'm going to do it anyway. All right, I'm going to come over that. Probably should have dried it, but it's all right. It'll still work because the green's going over that, right?
Yeah.
And I've got a little thing that's going out like this on the side. There you go.
You're pushing your envelope over there,
I'm
aren't you?
pushing the I am pushing the envelope. Well, without that, going to rinse the brush. Well, that's doing that. Let's just work on the highlights on our pot. So let's come back with a lighter orange color now. Wipe off the brush. When I wipe and pinch, what I'm doing is reshaping the brush. I realized that today. People say, what are you talking about pinching the brush? I'm constantly reshaping it. Does that make sense?
Pulling its hairs all back together.
Yeah, putting its hairs back together and getting the edge. Now I want to come along here like this, right? And I want this to be lighter. See that? And I'm going to come like this and say that this is lighter here. And then maybe in here, I'm going to suggest like there's a little shadow here by making this edge lighter. Now see how much prettier that looks? And the thing what happens, you guys, is that acrylics dry darker. So you're bopping along, merrily as can be, thinking everything's just great, and you look around and you're going, I'm sure that wasn't the color I just painted, and you haven't lost your mind. They change and they dry darker. And also, did you know colors are affected? Now this is sort of profound. Colors are affected by the color they're sitting next to. So you may mix a color on here and it looks great, and then you put it over here and you go, what happened? So be prepared. It's okay. Just adjust. That's all. We're just going to adjust here. We're going to come down here at this angle like that. We're going to just create a few little shadows, and maybe, there you go, something like this. So see, already that looks neater, doesn't it? And I might even go up one step lighter on that, on this one, just right here, and say I want that slightly lighter, just a little bit more yellow there. Maybe right here on the edge, like this. There. Oh, I like that. Okay, so that's. Oh, and let's just do this one right under here like that. There. All right, so there's our little pot, and I think, ooh, we could have a little more orange here. I want a little bit more orange color right down here. I think I had that in this part. See, it's still kind of an orangey color like that, and we'll just come down here like this. Put a little orangey red under here like that. There. All right, good pot.
Now you got that dice handy? Why don't you let those sit a little bit? Let's throw that die around.
Yeah, we play art trivia here, you guys, when we're painting, and that's
and we roll it on the wet paint.
And it's a number 2. Yeah, we roll it on the wet paint. We live on the edge here. We're gamblers, big time. Number 2.
Big time.
This is called Stump the Artist. And these are trivia questions, art trivia questions. So everybody likes to play that. So that's what we're doing. So John, you want to play that, and I'm going to dry this. Okay.
You're going to dry it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to mute you.
Yeah.
All right, she's muted. While she's gone at the moment. In 1662, Rembrandt painted members of a professional union in Amsterdam. What was their line of work? Okay, so in 1662, Rembrandt painted members of a professional union in Amsterdam. What was their line of work? Were they diamond merchants, drapers, or railroaders? All right. Now we'll read it one more time for Ginger, and you guys can hear it one more time.
Yeah, read it for me, and don't forget my picture of Jeannie. I want to show that.
Oh, you mean I have to get up and go get that?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. He's quick on the uptake, isn't he?
I'm telling you, I'm
nothing
quick.
slips by you, John.
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, she didn't tell me to put that on the... Oh, I have to go get it.
Yes, good.
All
Well,
right.
this is
in
just...
1662.
1662, what happened? So,
Rembrandt painted members of a professional union in Amsterdam. What was their line of work? Were they diamond merchants, drapers, or railroaders? So far, we got coming in, Alicia says railroad, Kathleen, drapers, Marty, drapers, Sue, railroad, Lori, drapers, Kim, drapers, and Ann is diamond merchants, Val is railroad, Claudia, drapers, Jeanette Draper, railroad from Samantha, Sylvia is railroad, Becky is draper, a diamond merchant from Carolyn, Tammy is a railroad, Gail is laughing at Peggy for some reason, I have no idea.
okay. While you're
We're
looking
again.
at that,
we're
hold on.
buffering again, we're out again.
Okay.
Stopping and restarting.
But we have to keep the faith here.
Coming back, guys, coming back.
Okay, now I'm painting in a green.
Wait, just a half a second. Everybody's still spooling it up.
Okay, spooling it up. Okay.
Okay, now you can talk.
All right, so here's the deal, you guys. We're putting in some green leaves, and we're using phthalo blue, yellow, and a little bit of cad red medium to make this dark green color. and we're just coming around here like this, and we're adding some little leaf shapey things here. Mostly this is dry. That purple isn't quite dry, but it's pretty close. Add a little more yellow when it's not. It's like this. Okay, we're adding some little leaf shapes around in here like this in the center, like that, and we're coming in here and put a little leaf like that, and I get paint. Please notice I'm getting paint each time, like that, a little bit of paint, couple of little. So we're putting in the green leaves, and you'll notice that I'm constantly mixing and adding colors. Now we've got a green leaf that's coming this way. Now this isn't the final color of these leaves. We've got one that's kind of coming over the edge of the pot here, okay? Maybe one that's coming out this way. Okay, and this is what these angle brushes are perfect for this, okay? And got a little leaf there, something coming under here. And we had a little leaf, like, I think we had a leaf that's coming right out there too. We like that coming there. Now the thing with this is that all of this looks very flat. And if your artwork is looking flat, it's because you don't have all the, you've got to, flowers are throwing shadows on other leaves, and so there's got to be some lights and darks, some shadows and all that stuff. Okay, so the white's pretty dry, okay? So I'm going to take a little bit of that green color.
Before you get too crazy there, did you want to answer this 1962
yeah,
question?
I think it's, I think he was painting, it wasn't drapers and it wasn't the diamond merchants, it was the other thing. That's my guess.
The railroaders?
The railroader people.
All right, the question was, in 1662...
No, it couldn't be railroad because there were railroads in 1662, so it has to be drapers. There wasn't a railroad. Columbus
sailed the ocean blue.
In 1492.
What does that have to do with railroads?
I don't think there was any railroads. 1865 was the railroads. 17, there's no railroads in 16. No, it's got to be drapers. There were no railroads.
So you would like to change your answer?
Yeah, I'm changing my answer.
In 1662, Rembrandt painted members of a professional union in Amsterdam, and they were the drapers.
Drapers, yeah.
If you guessed draper, give yourself 1,000 points.
Wow, that's awesome.
You only have to give Ginger 500, though. She did a retake.
Yeah, I did.
But she did think it through.
Oh, well, and of course, they didn't get the handle on the diamonds for a long time. So, all right, so we're putting a little yellow, and I'm going to add a little bit of white to this.
Is the answer.
Yellow and white to this. We're going to start putting in some lighter colors here on our leaves. Now look what happens when we do that. And I haven't dried the green, so that we're mixing colors as we go. So at some point, since I'm picking up colors, if I need a highlight or something, then what I have to do is, maybe pinch the brush. I maybe just want it on one side of a leaf, and I'll constantly be getting new paint, which is a good thing. So I want you to kind of see how I'm doing it. Okay, so that there's a little bit of light here, and then I know I want something light here on this one. And this is still impressionistic style painting. We're not trying to do it totally realistic, but we're going to leave kind of a dark center on that one. Do a little lighter green here. And then I'm going to rinse the brush a little bit, wipe it on my cloth, and I've got just some water on this. Do you see that? There's just water on my brush over the white, and you see how it's sort of staining. Oh, it's like a glaze. It's glazing these little white leaves like this. Just a tiny bit of paint, just very little, a little bit more green here, just on the edge here of these little variegated ones. Okay, like that. I'm going to come down here. Ooh, let's put a little bit of more white here. Kind of lost the white on this one. Okay. We'll put a little bit yellow. So you could paint this in or you can glaze it. But we need these kind of green on the edge, all right? Now green and red are complements. So if you get a wet green and a wet red together, you have muddy colors. This is the other thing. So if you're using the same brush, make sure you get all the green off your brush before you go back playing with red and so forth. That's one of the things you want to keep in mind, okay? So, all right, so I want a little bit lighter edge here. This is still wet, so I can just go into the white here over that and it should do it. A little bit lighter here. I'm going to make a little do you see with the white paint, see how I'm kind of making a little raggedy edge? John's looking for my stuff. We did a collaboration Friday with an artist named Ray Grimes, and he does abstracts on YouTube. And I introduced a lot of you to him. He's hasn't been on YouTube too long, and he does, I think, really beautiful abstracts. And anyway, he and I did a collaboration, and I did a portrait of my sister as an abstract called Jeannie, and we did that last week. Is it under there? Just where did we put it? It's amazing. We have so many paintings here. It's amazing how we could lose something. You know, yeah, we've got a great auction coming up. And also, this was some of our news I was going to tell you. This is my second coat of white on this leaf. Did you see that? Because we had to go over something pretty dark. So this is my second coat of white on here, like that. All right, there we go. You're still finding, it's got to be in here, John. He knows. He says, are you afraid to leave for fear we're buffering? Do you need to go back?
Well, it's not behaving itself.
So I don't know what the buffering is. It's not us. We had the chat, so to speak, with Comcast, and they swore they would no longer try to do upgrades while we were doing live shows. Okay, so now we have no other explanation for how screwy that is. I want a little something right there. We don't know why this is happening. We don't know what.
Well, it's going to be fast recovery.
But we're figuring out how to recover pretty fast. Okay, so while this is drying, I think we can go back to some yellow here. And I want to just add a little bit of highlights to some of these green, like there, just where the light might be catching it. Boop, boop, boop.
No idea. Did you take it back to A for any reason?
I didn't take it back to other studio for any reason whatsoever. Did not. Now see how flat these other flowers are looking. So let's start with remember I talked to you about second coat of red? So now look what happens when we do a second coat of red on here. Okay, can you see what a difference that makes? Just that. And that can be a secret and all by itself, is that when to coat something in red. We're doing that. And then we did a really cool, we've got a newsletter coming out. I get so many things to tell you, and I'm concentrating on painting this too, and I need to get these colors out. But we've got, the first of every month, we put out a newsletter for our members. This is our third one in a row. Can you believe it?
Done on time.
Done on time. It'll be ready. It will come out, first thing tomorrow morning. Our newsletter. And if you go to our website, gingercooklive.gallery, and scroll all the way down to the bottom, of the page, you see newsletter. Now here's the thing: if you're not interested in our newsletter, don't sign up for it, because every time we send them out, it's not free to do that. We get we get over a certain amount, and we don't mind paying if people read them. But if you don't open them, if you sign up and you don't open them, then you'll be off the list for the next time. But here's the deal: I want you to see this. You see this painting right here? Let's move this out of the way. See this painting right here? This ocean scene, this little 8x10 ocean scene, is one of our lessons from our Wave and Water Masterclass, is the grand prize for our newsletter contest that we're going to be having starting tomorrow. And we're going to have rules, a link to the rules on how to enter the contest to win this. It will be a random drawing, but you're going to have to, and it's free, absolutely free. You don't have to buy anything. I promise you, nothing.
No purchase necessary.
No purchase necessary.
No,
but
we're buffering.
No more. Now we're buffering?
Don't even bother. Yeah, don't even bother. We're buffering again.
Okay. All right.
And since I was walking around, I'm not sure when it started.
Okay. All right, well, let's give the next coats of red on here.
8:19 was good.
Okay.
Okay, it says we're back, and then you're not telling it, and we're back again.
All right. So how you win, I just been putting more coats of red on there as long as we were playing, right? So how you win this painting, this is really cool, okay?
You might start with the whole newsletter.
You got to watch our newsletter to win the painting.
You have to read
you have to read the whole thing. There are rules on, it's a random drawing, and you're going to win this painting. And anywhere in the world, we're willing to mail this anywhere in the world. I don't care where you live. If you're a winner, and we'll do the drawing on August
15th.
15th.
The Monday 21st.
We're going to do it on August 21st. Monday, August 21st will be the live drawing. But to get into the drawing, that's how do you get you have 10, up to, what, how many chances to win?
Up to 6 chances to win.
6 chances to win. There's 6 different ways you can win this to get your name in the pot, and then we're going to pull somebody's name out. But to get into the pot, to be able to pull your name, that's the trick, and there's rules. So if you send, there's going to be, we have something called the secret word game. Okay?
One of our favorites.
It's one of our favorites, and we will have hidden secret words that will make no sense in the sentence. In other words, if I'm going to give you an example, for instance, Ginger does great acrylic painting octopus, and she loves to see sunsets, okay? Obviously the word octopus doesn't go in that sentence, so it's going to be something weird like that. That's totally incongruent, and we're going to have on the main newsletter page, we will have 3 hidden secret words that are in there, and there's a form.
Wait, newsletter?
Newsletter.
Has 6 now.
The newsletter now has 6. Sorry, I lied. The
See,
newsletter.
went crazy last night.
It has the newsletter has 6 secret words, and there's a form. You can't just contact us and send us to them. There's a special form you've got to send your answers in on, and that's why you want to click on the rules and read all the disclaimers. And YouTube has nothing to do with this contest and all that stuff. Apparently, there's a way to do contests on YouTube, and we have heard the message and we're doing it correctly. And so anyway, I want you to read the rules. And that's why we're not doing it on YouTube, but we will do the drawing on YouTube, but they're not involved. Okay, so somebody's going to win this painting, and there'll be some other lesser prizes of, not lesser, but fabulous other prizes too. If you don't win the painting, you might win a month worth of lessons courtesy of us, or some downloads, or maybe even an imagination cloth. You don't know what you're going to win, but we do. So anyways, and you have 6 chances to win. Up to 6, and there's other hidden words in some other parts of our website, and we're going to tell you where those are in the newsletter. And if you add those, every time you add those, you get another chance to win, and it's all explained. So we thought that was kind of cool. In the meantime, I'm taking some red here. That's just had a chance to dry, and I'm just using the edge here of my variegated plant here on my Cad Red medium, and I'm just going to come up here like this. And I'm going to put in the red right here. See that? I think I want Cad Red medium on this. Let's do a little Cad Red. Right, like that. Are we still buffering?
No. Michael wants to know, how did you paint on a loose canvas? Did you tape it down, or how did you do that one?
Oh,
Do you remember?
How did I paint on that? I did a lot of those where I paint on loose canvas. I just put it on a piece of paper that's bigger than that and just paint. I don't believe I taped it down, no. I did not tape it down. Though you could tape it down. We did this one, which is tomorrow's lesson. I did a tape around it, but I really didn't tape it down. I taped around it for a border, but we're going to actually do that on a 9 by 12 tomorrow, you guys, for this one. This is going to be 9 by 12 tomorrow, just so you know. And if you must paint an underpainting, if you want to paint along, get me some sort of peach color, okay, for your underpainting. Just saying that for tomorrow if you're playing. Okay, so now, anyway, we think this is kind of cool, so we thought that would be fun, and we've got this great, anyway, we have this great newsletter, and we also have an Artist of the Month, and somebody watching, that'll be announced in the newsletter. It could be one of you that are watching if you're one of our members, gingercooklive.gallery, so you want to make sure that you are, just check and see if you are the Artist of the Month. And then also we have, let's see, we talk a little bit about all kinds of stuff. Sammy's got a new channel, our bear. Sammy is the tech bear, has a new channel. We talk a little bit about that. And here's why you care. Because the thing that happens to us when, one of the things about managing an online acrylics academy, okay, is that it's online, and so everybody's got a different kind of computer. Everybody's got a different TV, an iPad, an iPhone, an Android, this or that, or a Kindle, or whatever they've got, and then they've got different browsers. And one week something works, and the next week it doesn't. Nobody knows why. Life's a mystery. But John is the demystifier of all that, and he and Sammy have got together, and they make short little how-to videos on how to make your toys go. All your technical toys. So somebody wrote us one time and said, I so want to be able to chat on, because a little white to cad red medium, and just lighten up a little something right in here like that. I just want to be able to chat, and I'm going to pinch the brush and kind of work that in so it's a little bit lighter. How do I chat on the live shows? Well, for one thing, you've got to be on the show. I mean, what I mean by that is you've got to be live when we're live. If this is a recorded lesson, so even though we say we're live, if you're watching this in 3 days, there's no chatting. So no matter what happens, there's no way for you to chat with us. I know this seems rather obvious, but for some people, this is a mystery. They're just going, what is she talking about? People are asking questions. How do I get a question? Then the other thing is, maybe on a lot, so you're not sure, and then you want to chat. Well, what kind of browser you need? You've got an iPhone, or you've got this or that, and it's not working. So John's got these nifty videos on that, how to watch a Vimeo, how to download something, how to watch a download. And then anytime you guys have questions and stuff about things, he makes videos about it. He and Sammy put them up, and so we're just they get lost on this format on our Ginger Cook Live with all the paintings. They get lost. So Sammy's going to have his own channel, and so if you haven't subscribed to our bear, please subscribe to our bear. You'll see the link there, and please subscribe to Sammy because you're gonna be really glad you did. And then anytime you want Sammy to make you a video on something, you have a problem with your tech, just ask John, and that might be on his list to do to get Sammy to make that video for you guys. Okay, so that's kind of cool. All right, so you see that? Now we got a little cad red. Now we're going to come back up here with some cad red. Now look how much brighter that is. I don't know if you guys can see it. You see? We're adding another little coat of red here. This is the cad red. It's amazing how you can layer on colors of red, isn't it? Okay, so here we go. So we're just layering on the next little bright colors on our flowers. Cad red medium is your orange red. So we had the naphtha, okay? So the flowers just keep getting brighter like that. I'm just going to say here it is, like that. Okay, so that's how we're kind of putting those in. Now you'll see me rinse the brush. Now while those are drying, we'll go back to the yellow and start into the green. So anyway, that's one of the things we wanted to tell you about, which we think was kind of cool. So, that stuff. And let's see what else. We got, what other exciting things are we doing? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I've still got to do this, but, I'm sorry we had the buffering thing tonight, you guys. So.
It's not by choice, mind you.
I worked really hard this weekend. Do you guys want to see what Thursday's release is for the members? Want to see what?
I certainly hope somebody gets it up too.
Look at that.
Oh wait, now I'm gonna have to back out some.
Back out. Look at that.
That's on what site would you do that on?
That's on a 12 by 16, 12 by 16 canvas. Do you guys like that? That's the new release for our members for this for next week.
This week.
On so Prospector's Mill. In the mountains. Old Prospector's Mill. Now, where is the Wave and Water one that goes with that?
You had it when you did the intro.
I didn't.
We didn't put anything back.
Oh, yeah, I did. You're right. I lied. I lied. I had it. Yeah, so if you like that, okay, then we've got... For our Wave and Water Masterclass last fall, this was one of our paintings. I want you guys to see how cool they look together. Don't you think that's neat? So if you're Wave and Water Masterclass person, if you haven't done this one yet, this is really cool. This will be in our video lesson library. So maybe it might be an incentive to try doing our Wave and Water so you have a pair. And I would make them both the same size. This is a 12 by 16. This is not quite that big.
That one's 11 by 14.
11 by 14, but I would, seriously, look, you can see they look like almost this. Look at that. I would make them both the same size. If you're thinking about painting something, now's the time to, kind of got to plan some canvases out. Sometimes a pair of something large like that can look really nice hanging a pair over, couch or, dining room or something. All right.
Swiss Miss is asking a question. Which tutorial painting would you recommend for a doctor's office?
Oh, something like that, a landscape for a doctor's office, for sure. The thing about it is that, it's interesting. You want to, a lot of times the reason, this came up the other day, I wish you'd found Jeannie.
I don't know where she is.
Well, we're going to find her and show you tomorrow night. Though you could just look on our videos, recent videos, and you'll see her. It's an abstract, okay? But the reason a lot of times people do abstracts in like doctors' offices and lawyers' offices and stuff is because it doesn't. They decorate more around the color of the painting, and they don't say anything. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They don't have. There's no statement about it whatsoever.
It's
but
just
I
a
think
splash of
landscapes.
color on the wall.
I think one of the things that hospitals want. This is a good question. One of the things that hospitals, if you want to try to paint for a hospital, they don't want anything with red in it. Understandably so, huh? And they like things with views, no closed doors or gates and stuff, and nothing that talks about heaven, no angels, stuff like that. They don't want any of that stuff, right? And so, hospitals, you kind of look at what the hospital paintings have, and if you kind of want to know what's in, take a quick look through a furniture store. Here, we're going to put a little light dot in the middle of these, like this, and this one, a little dot here, and those. I'm going to take a little yellow oxide, put with it like that. There we go, just a little tiny bit of yellow oxide, knock that white back, okay? And let's take a little bit more white here, and I want a little bit more white right here on the edge of this. Now I want to make our next, there's like a little star leaf in the center of these. If this is dry, there's a little star pattern here like that in the center of these. Okay, ooh, too much paint on the brush, right like that. Okay, we'll do that. And this one over here has got it. We're going to put that in again. There's this. Okay, putting this in. And yeah, so that's doctor's offices and stuff like that. Landscapes are very nice. But it's nice to have, if you have a vista road somewhere that people are going, nothing too closed off, which is a good thing. Let's see, and no red if you're painting for hospitals. Probably for doctor's offices too. That's not probably a bad thing either, right? Depending on what kind of things you're treating. If it's a maternity ward or something like that, children are fine in maternity wards and babies. People love that kind of stuff. You'll see that decorated, but I've been known to trade my. Years ago I had to have a bridge done, and it was very expensive, in your mouth, and not like in a pond, but in the mouth. And my, those things are thousands of dollars, and really, and I talked to my dentist that we'd gone there, she had just opened the office not too long ago, and people never think to do this, and you're just looking at the wall, man, this was depressing. And I said, listen, I showed her a small painting of an ocean and a kind of an arch, and it went on forever. And I've talked about making it as big as behind me, only vertical, like 48 by 60, but go over the whole wall. So when you sat in that chair, it looked like you were on a villa looking out over the water with flowers and everything. It was a gorgeous painting, and I traded her the painting for the dentistry work. And trust me, it was a lot less money. I probably had $100 and everything in the canvas and paint, a lot less than thousands of dollars in the, to get the bridge. And plus, lots of people saw it, and that was good advertising for me. Does that make sense? Here's a little light green.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, in fact, I can't tell you how many dentists I have traded dental work for artwork over the years. I think this last time, sometimes you can't do it, and we try when we can. I've traded artwork for transmissions for cars, for trucks.
You've seen those, people on the side of the road, little work for Ginger will give you a painting for whatever's needed.
Yeah, well, you got to try that first, right? Try that first. Because I remember we traded for an attorney one time. I needed an attorney to keep our house from being foreclosed on, and at the point where it's in foreclosure, you don't have $3,000 for him either, just to write the letter so it's not foreclosed on. This was about 10 years ago, and he was happy to take the painting, wrote the letter, and then we got new financing. We were all fine. But I'm just saying that in a pinch, sometimes learning to paint is not the worst thing you can do. All right, let's take a little shadow color, some ultramarine blue and red, mostly red with a tiny bit of ultramarine blue in it, a little bit of a shadow color. And let's add a little bit of a shadow color back here to some of this. Let's add a little shadow here, maybe under here a bit. Come up here like this. Let's put a little shadow in these paintings. People just don't think about, you know, when you paint, and you guys are all getting good. I've seen what a lot of you are doing, and you're all getting good. I see the work on Pinterest, and someone did a peacock the other day. You know, we did those great peacock paintings last week, 2 weeks ago, and she says, "Oh, it doesn't look like yours." Man, I liked how hers looked. You know, it doesn't have to look like mine. What I'm showing you here is techniques, you guys. All you're getting from me is techniques on how to do things. It doesn't have to be an exact thing, but you're getting the idea and why you do something. Why are you doing something? There you go. Let's just get a little more of this blue up here. A little bit of white here. I'm going to start working on my background again. Then I'll just kind of tap this color in. I want some brighter colors up in here now. Okay, this is my next layer of color up in my background. Remember I told you we would do a little bit of that, and then see, I'm going to just take a little bit of this blue here, come in like that. Want it a little bit bluer, like that. There you go. Kind of lighten this up in here like that. Maybe a little bit of light right here. See how I'm going around and just, I want this painting to, this flower to show up, so I'm lightening something here like this. Maybe sneaking in here with a little of this color like that. Let's see, where else could we put a little bright color? Right here. Here, a little bit of this light color right in here like that. Just sneak in a little bit of color. Sometimes just the tiniest bit of color can be very effective. So a little bit of white and purple. Lighten something up, pinch the brush. If purple is too bright for you, put a little yellow in it. A tiny bit of yellow, like less than 1%, will gray purple. Just slightly, so it's not so in your face. If you don't, Dodging purple is pretty strong, so that's kind of cool. And let's see what else have we got here. I think I want this a little bit lighter right next to the pot here. Do you see that? See how it kind of dried darker? So I'm just going to do a little bit lighter bit of color right here, like that. And let's see, where else can we go? Oh yeah, let's come back in here with a little of the dark. And let's just come back here and reshape this flower in here like that. See, I can just come in here. Maybe I didn't draw the flower on as perfectly, so I'm going to darken that up right there. So you want, you know, if you're losing your contrast, you can come back and add it. There we go. Something like that. Just put these colors in to see what we're doing. Okay, I would think I would go back out here one more time with the lighter color on the side of the pot right here. See right there? This is the third time I've done that, but I want it a little bit brighter right here. And there we go, a little bit brighter there. A little bit brighter right here to emphasize the shadows that are coming down. A little more red in that. There we go, a little bit oranger. Okay, like this. Any other questions, John?
Not at the moment.
Okay. So it's just been a crazy night for buffering and stuff. I want a little of that color up here on maybe one of my leaves too. A little bit of that tiny bit of the kind of orange yellow color on the leaf, like that. Maybe coming up here like this, lighten the top. Remember, wherever there's a light, there's a dark. So if you're, we have to put out some more white. Our white got all contaminated. So we're almost done here with this painting. We're almost done. We're just adding more. As it dries darker, we're adding some highlights on the leaves and stuff. That's all we're doing. Let's just do this a little lighter. We want this leaf a little lighter right here. There we go. We want that one a little bit brighter. And then a little bit darker back this way. Okay, and then, you know, reshape the brush, wipe the paint off.
This is a 2-cookie lesson?
Yeah, it's about 2 cookie. I don't think this is very hard. Do you guys think this? I don't think this is seeming hard to you now that you're doing it, is it? You're not perceiving this as hard, are you?
I'm not.
Okay. I don't think those guys are either. I think they're kind of seeing that this is just a matter of understanding. Let's just put a little bit of purple up in here, or the brown. Let's maybe a little bit of purple over here. See, just kind of play with your background a bit. There you go. And maybe I'll bring this pot in a little bit right here, like that. Just bring that in on the side here. Let's just trim that out. There we go. And I want it lighter over here for sure. So put the paint on the brush. This is kind of the trick. And then you wipe it off. And you guys, I spend more time wiping paint off because I have just that. It gives me just the amount of paint I want. I'll put it on and then wipe it off. And I'm able to do that because these brushes carry a lot of pigment. Okay. This is basically, you're kind of seeing, this is basically how you paint this. And I'm taking a little bit of cad red. And you've got a little bit of a red center in this little star pattern here in the center here. Okay. The other reason after I reshape the brush is to wring the water out of it like that. Okay, there you go, something like that. There's that little star pattern on that little leaf. Now I think we've pretty much got this. What do you think, John? It feels like we've got it. Anybody else have any comments? We'd love to hear from you. I wanted to show you. I told you I'd show you our newest piece for the village section piece. Let me just move this out of the way for a second. When this dries, I'll add a couple more things, but I wanted you to see that. You guys remember our village, which we said we're going to have ready on our website for sale as our Christmas village. Remember these two pieces, right? And you paint around the edge. These are 6 by 8. You can either stand them up like this or hang them on the wall. We're going to have a complete village. We have a summer village, but this is our winter village. This is the church. That wouldn't have to be a church. You could make this anything. This is the gazebo. And then, wait, are you ready for this?
Wait there's more.
Will this fit in here like this? Here's the fountain, the frozen fountain that goes on the other side of this.
How cool is that?
See, here's the brick that kind of goes with all that. The brick on the wall, and then and the brick on the church. And then we've got, so it's almost like there's a park behind the church, or maybe this is part of the grounds of the hotel if you wanted to make it a hotel. We've got this nifty lanterns. And again, you don't have to make this Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas, just don't put all the Christmas decorations on there. Just make it a winter village. You can have little bright lights and stuff and twinkly lights. That's still festive in winter. It doesn't have to be Christmas. And anyway, but this is our winter series, and you can see here's the side of this. And then come back. This is now out of, well, not the toy shop, when we'll have lots more stores, but the toy store will be available again. And we had this as a Christmas special for our members on Black Friday.
It'll come back
That'll come back Black Friday. So that won't be available right away, but know that that'll be part of it. It takes a while to do these. They're not that difficult, but they are a little time consuming and stuff. So, we wanted to give you plenty of time to get this ready in case you wanted to
these
play.
These are 6 by 8. I think you
6
might
by 6 by 8 gallery wrap, and they're nice and wide. They're like 1.5 inches wide.
Yep.
Isn't that cool? And they're like little pieces of sculpture. And again, we have a whole series, I don't know, like 10 or something like that, of the European summer ones, and this is our winter series, okay? For people that like to decorate for the holidays. And then maybe you've got those train sets and other things, and these might be pretty behind
cool.
it, So, all right, so back to our stuff here. Back to our stuff. You can see that I think we did pretty good with that. Our centers are a little bright. So where did I put the brush? Here. So I'm going to put my palette back. Any other nifty questions I can answer?
Can I do the 6 by 8 instead of make them 5 by 7? Can I do the 6 by 8 instead of make them?
Well, they were 6 by 8.
They're 6 by 8, and if you want to make them 5 by 7, you can. It's not that far to scale it down.
Yeah, you could. There's going to be a little harder to do the detail, but sure you can. You can make them small. You could make them bigger. I'm saying what? Here's some imagination, you guys. Get with me now. Everybody's with me? Think about the 3 of these as a very big, large screen. Make them much bigger than this.
Oh, yeah.
And have them like as a holiday screen. Ooh, 3 of them. Do the 3 of them. So yeah, you can do anything. I mean, that's the thing about being an artist, is that you can do anything. You're an artist. So anyway, I don't know if I finished the thought about I wanted people to kind of trim these down a bit like that. Just put a little like shadowy thing here like that. Okay, and I've got some shadow under here. I think the way I've painted this one, it almost needs to have a little white thing right here. I think that one probably has to have it because of the way we painted it. All right. So let's see, I need a little bit of white right here.
Judy would like to know, do the village paintings come with tutorial for the size of the canvas?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Judy.
Yes. You bet.
The whole kit and caboodle.
Oh, kit and caboodle.
I love the kit and caboodle.
Yeah, these ones do. Sometimes, you know, sometimes, like for instance, on this one I showed you how to do it. We wrapped it around and we did the little candles in the window, which I thought was really pretty, okay? And then on this one, on this one I just finished, on one side we had the fence. Can you see that? We had the fence and the trees, but on this side we just had the tree. We didn't wrap the fence all the way around. But you could have. But I mean, you know, once you know how to do this side, I guess you could have done that side too. But I didn't think it needed it. So anyway, yeah, it does. They come with that. And then the toy store, which was cute, that came with balloons on one side, and it came with like a little toys and stuff. But you can do all kinds of toys, you know. I mean, these are the ones I thought of. But what's neat about these village pieces is you make them kind of your own. You kind of get your own imagination going on. Once I show you how to do it, then you start getting real creative, and you know, which is, I think, absolutely great. And let's see, I think I'm missing. I think this is about it. We appreciate you guys hanging in there with us. I'm going to put another little leaf there, kind of block that off there, and maybe
You'll probably put
something there.
The video will probably be fine after they piece it all back together.
Yeah, I think it'll be okay. I think we're not going to lose too much. Do you think, John?
No, every time they've done it before, they've really pieced it, you know, how they do it pretty logically.
So it gets pieced back. So I don't think we're going to lose too much. We really appreciate you guys hanging in there with us. Tell your friends about us. Again, we appreciate it. And do look for if you haven't gone to our website, it's gingercooklive.gallery if you want to sign up for our newsletter. You know, once a month, we don't ever bombard anybody with anything. We're too lazy to send out. I mean,
I don't think it's a question of lazy. It's just not enough time.
We're busy, man. We're busy. We have a friend. I'm just going to throw him under the bus. And John used to work for him, and this nutbar would send out newsletters like once a week, and people just threw them away. Nobody, who wants that? You know, we have real news. In our newsletter, we show you all our paintings that we did for July for our members, and we tell you stuff you might possibly want to know. That's why, because it's a lot of people, you know, only go to our website. They don't go to Facebook at all, and they don't go to YouTube at all. They just are strictly watch the videos on our website. So if we didn't send out a newsletter, they'd be clueless about what was going on. Oh, one thing about it, I want to show you one more thing. One thing about it, don't be afraid to put like a leaf on top of something like that. You can bury it, you know, I didn't do it in that other one, but you sure can do that. You know, don't be afraid to just come over the top of a flower. It gives it a little more depth when you do that. For instance, if you just, it does. If you just had a little leaf coming in front like that, it does kind of give you.
And you don't need special glasses.
Yeah, that's true. Though we did. What did we love valerian. I wish I'd seen that in 3D. We went and saw that in a regular thing. I'm telling you what, that was a cool movie.
Well, we may go back and see it in 3D next time.
I really love that movie, I have to tell you. That was eye candy. All right, so I'm going to take one of these little Posca pens. Did you take my thin one back after you gave it to me? Did you just steal it back?
I should have, so I know where it would be.
All right, do you guys know about these? Nobody pays us to say any of this stuff. These we found, one of our members told us about them. What I like about them is I used other art pens, and you put the mark down there, it's a done deal. You can't get rid of it. This you can wipe off for about 5 minutes if you don't like what you wrote. But I'm just going to come down here like this and just sign my name like that. And that's all she wrote. And then here's a red one. We went and bought all kinds of these things. And they're really nice to do some detail work on the village. The white ones are really neat for detail work. I would tell you, if you were going to get two, I would get a dark brown and a white for sure. Because the dark brown is good for tiny little tree limbs and stuff. All right, there's my red slash through it. So again, we appreciate very much you guys watching these with us and hanging in there. And I hope everybody has a fabulous evening. And we'll see you tomorrow night. We're painting, this will be on a 9x12, and it will be this ocean's sunset scene, which I think is really pretty. Try to mix it up a bit. And I hope everybody understood why we were doing why this worked with the complementary colors. That's what we did tonight, was the complementary colors, red and green. We really focused on that. And I think that, and you can see why that can be very effective.
Dorothy's asking a very strange question.
Oh, Dorothy, goodness.
I have to try to decipher what she's saying here.
Okay.
Is the nib on that pen, please, John Ginger?
Oh, they have different nibs. She wants to know if it's a fine point or whatever.
How
Sure.
did you know that?
I know. Because look, here's one that had a fatter one, you know? Here, this is a fatter one, see that?
Yeah, that's a 9mm, I think.
That was the 9.
0.9, the other one's a 7.
Yeah, see, I don't know for millimeters, you know what I mean? That means nothing to me. Extra fine means something, sort of fine, kind of fat. Those are all things that I can kind of grasp the concept of, but millimeters, what does that mean to anybody? Nothing. I mean, I'm not making bullets. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, so they come in different sizes.
So you want that. I like the real fine one, and they really do work. And here's the secret. Somebody showed me this. Here's what you do. You shake them. When you open them, you shake them with the cap on for about a minute, right? And then you take the cap off and you do like this. Can you see what I'm doing here? And you pump them like this to get the air out. Somebody said they liked them, but it dumped paint all over their stuff. You do this to get the air out, and then that won't happen. And then whenever you shake them, put the cap on.
So it clicks.
So it clicks. Make sure that the cap is on and it's clicking. These are good things.
They want to see your painting of the solar eclipse is coming up. So show them what you've come up with.
Oh, what, the solar eclipse?
Yep, that's your solar eclipse
You
painting.
think that's my solar eclipse painting? Do you like it?
Want to see it? She just finished it.
That's Houston during a solar eclipse. You guys like it?
Yeah, what do you think?
I think that's a Houston and a solar eclipse. And, you know, we're going to auction that off for big bucks here, you guys.
That's going to be our biggie.
That's our biggie, right? So have fun with that. Okay, everybody have a wonderful evening. Don't forget that couple of things. If you haven't subscribed, I forgot to tell you what not to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah, don't forget.
And share it. Tell your friends. We appreciate it. Night.
Good night, everyone.